Attack incoming. Prepare now. That's this morning's topic. Folks, I'm John with Prepper Nation. Thank you very much for being here, shooting a thumbs up, smashing that subscribe button. Sheila Wargo, thank you for this morning's mean bean. It's hot, but it tastes pretty good. So FBI Director Christopher Wray said earlier last week, this is one of those stories. Remember how I told you I look for these stories while everybody else is up here distracted by Stormy Daniels and the Trump trial? Boom. They lay in this right here in the footnotes. And I picked up on this story. So again, this comes from the FBI director himself, Christopher Wray. He admitted to lawmakers that the CCP has a hacking campaign underway that the FBI has known about for some time, that they've already gotten in and embedded into a lot of America's infrastructure. And he goes on to say, even though we know this is happening and we've got our security people on it, our cybersecurity teams and stuff like this, we really don't know how to stop it at this point. They're embedded into everything, not just Telegram, right? So the program is called Volt Typhoon. Y'all can Google that if you want to, if you want more information on this. Volt Typhoon is what the CCP or the actors that live in the CCP, who really knows, we're going to get into that in a second. That's what they're calling it. It is a massive infrastructure campaign. They want to disable, in his own words, actually, wreak havoc on our critical infrastructure. And the FBI director is saying, they're just waiting for the most opportune time to do it. At this point, they're already embedded into everything that the United States needs in order to continue. Because look, as many of you preppers know, we're like one major event away from society going to the crapper, right? Everybody kind of lives in this illusion that society is just going to be the same every single day. And usually it is because the right people are there at the right time and they stop a lot of bad things. But the FBI director here is saying, we really don't know how to stop this. And so they're just waiting for the right time. He doesn't know why they haven't deployed it yet, which is why they believe that the CCP at this point is just waiting. They're waiting to pounce. So they want to hit telecommunications. This is going to cause mass panic. Talk about misinformation on steroids. Okay, they would have the ability to shut down communication back and forth, phone calls, social media, stuff like this, while also putting out their own message here in the United States. So you wouldn't know what to believe, essentially, as all the chaos was taking place. The energy sector, taking the grid completely offline. Long term, okay? Now, what does long term mean? I don't know. If they're talking a couple of months, couple of years, whatever the case. Couple of days, nationwide, folks, and it gets loco in this country. The water systems as well. Many of your water systems are connected directly to the energy system. So people's ability to turn the lights on, communicate back and forth, have clean, running water or cleanish, especially if you're in Flint, Michigan, right? Cleanish running water goes out the window. The banking sector taken completely offline. They've embedded into the banking sector. Imagine what kind of nightmare that is. You've got money in the bank, but you can't actually spend it. You can't actually, nothing is up and running at this point. The healthcare industry, everything's online pretty much now. You'd be hard pressed, and I'm sure they're still out there, but you would be hard pressed to find a doctor or a medical building that still uses hard records, right? Actual physical records. Think about the gas. Grid goes down, you can't stop at your Flying J's. You can't stop at your Buc-ee's. You can't stop at truck stops and things and get gas. So this is hard enough for the American consumer, the average American out here that They need gas to get to Starbucks. There I am, son, picking on Starbucks again. But listen, think about the trucking sector. How do we move stuff around the country? Can't do it without gas. All right, the CCP knows this. Our ability to move stuff around, to buy, sell, and trade immediately blanked out long term. That is the plan. And again, I mean, it's because we have set ourselves up. We live in this all digital world. We've pushed all digital everything. And now it may be coming back to roost. So, the first question I have is, how much chaos would this cost here in the United States? How much would it cost? Think about that. Now, again, he's talking about nationwide. This is not a regional issue. This is not, hey, they're going to hit part of West Virginia. He is talking about coast to coast. You know, we have, I think it's either 5 or 6 major grids. He's saying they now have the ability, they're embedded, and we don't know how to stop them from doing it. The CCP can shut this down at any point. They can knock all the grids down. Texas has their own independent grid, so I'm not sure that they would be fully affected. I'm not sure how that would work, but I would think that they would be partially affected, and everything else would be taken offline. The banking sector is hit. That's coast to coast, including Texas, right? A nightmare. A nightmare. How long would it take for this country to go from powder keg to full-blown incident at that point? And the bigger question, when is the ideal time to hit? If the CCP has had this ability for a while, and again, according to the FBI, they have, our own experts don't even know how to go in and get them out of the infrastructure at this point. What are they waiting for? What is the ideal time to hit here in the United States? Are we talking about, immediately I'm thinking of the election, right? The November election. You could hit just prior to the election, or you could hit just after the election. People already are not going to trust the results one way or another. You know, I think it would be in their benefit to wait until after the election, the results roll in, boom, you take everything offline. It just makes things look 100 times worse for the average American. And the average American, again, isn't even going to know that things were taken offline by the CCP because of all the misinformation that would be out there at that point. Do you wait for coast to coast? Y'all know how it's starting to spread already. This protest chaos, this mostly peaceful protesting chaos, as it continues to spread and widen, would this be an ideal time? If we have to come to the full-on defense of Taiwan, would that be the time to strike? I mean, I think, you know, for me, it's an interesting question. So here's the thing. The plot thickens, okay? The Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Chinese government, they have openly admitted, they responded and admitted that Volt Typhoon exists. They're not denying it. They're not saying the FBI is making it up. They're saying, yes, we also know about Operation Volt Typhoon. The difference is the CCP is denying responsibility. They're saying, no, these are criminal ransomware hackers. This is a criminal group here in China that is doing this, has nothing to do with the government. So what's your opinion on that? Do you think that the Chinese government's behind it? Do you think it's just a bunch of rogue hackers? Because honestly, either way, it doesn't matter. It's going to have the same effect. It doesn't really matter who's behind it in the end, right? It's going to benefit China. But as a prepper and as an American citizen here, hopefully you are if you're catching this. If not, please do it the right way. If you've snuck across the border, thank you for watching. Please do it the right way, though, because we need you paying taxes, son. This is 2 primary sources. This is not Uncle Joe's blog, right? This is not some seedy, shady, third-rate website over here on the corner of the internet. This is the FBI here in the United States of America, and this is the Chinese government, both admitting Operation Volt Typhoon exists. Two primary sources are letting you know China now, or this small group, rogue group in China, whatever the case may be, now has the ability to shut down all of our critical infrastructure here in the United States. And as a prepper, I'm sorry, that should worry you a little bit more than what Stormy Daniels says about Donald Trump and vice versa. All right? I'm saying they have the ability to shut down the grid to the point where Donald Trump and Stormy Daniels are in retirement homes before we get it back up and running. You know, this seems like it's very important. I'm going to take it a step further. Now, what I'm telling you at this point is speculation on my part, and y'all let me know. Am I right? Am I wrong? This is me trying to put it together here, but my head's a weird place sometimes. So you've heard the expression, an army marches on its stomach. Okay? We've talked about in the past as it pertains to Taiwan, or at least I have, hopefully y'all agree, the supply line, the logistics of a supply line, meaning us, the United States, trying to supply a war effort and keep our soldiers fed and armed halfway around the world. That's bad. From a military standpoint, that is not a position that you want to be in. You want to be able to feed your troops. Hungry troops are not happy troops. You know what I'm saying? So that expression, an army marches on its stomach, for anybody that doesn't know, just means, hey, it doesn't matter if you have 10 troops, 10 million troops. If you can't feed them, they're not worth anything in battle. You know what I mean? Whereas a well-fed army can do a lot of damage. So think about the logistical nightmare that the United States is looking at. Now, take this into account. China owns 384,000 acres of farmland here in the United States. Many of these acres are in or around, they're surrounding vital military infrastructure here in the United States. This could just be a coincidence. This could be me overthinking it, or this could be China being proactive and solving their infrastructure problem, solving their supply line before we see an invasion. You understand what I'm saying? Now again, that's a leap of faith on my part, but it seems to make sense. If you are going to hit out at the United States, they could wait, something could happen with Taiwan. They could feign as though they're going to invade Taiwan. The United States deploys there entirely. They're in 100% knee deep. Both legs, son. And at that point, they could hit out at the infrastructure here in the United States, shut the grid down, shut our ability to pump gas down, clean water, communications back and forth. They have the supply line in place to hand their troops food, right? Not going halfway around the world. There are farms everywhere that are owned by these people. They have the ability within our own country to feed an invading force. And as we've talked about in the past, there's some questionable faces coming across the southern border. We have no idea if this is an invading force or not, militarily speaking. But let me know what you think, because it seems to make sense to me. So, what is conservative Americans' number one problem right now? Interesting question, right? Moreover, what is the number one problem conservatives have, and how do we fix it? I'm going to answer that in the next video. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Y'all take care, and God bless.